This is how I met Jillian.
So this is how we met.
It started off in Hume, June of 2015. I remember our first greeting when we first met each other.
The first time I met him, I was on one of the canoes on the lake with my friends.
I was with one of my friends and we were walking by the dock or pier of Hume, and there was this boat out in the water, and my friend knew all the people on the boat, and one of them was Jillian. He just introduced me to him. He's like, hey guys, this is my friend Jason. They all said hi.
And I had a friend named John, and he was walking with Jason like on the land, I guess. They were walking and we were like, hey John, and he's like, hey guys, this is my friend Jason. So we were like, hey Jason. The first time we met was also at Hume. I was walking alone. I ran into John and he was with Jason. They were going to play basketball and I was like, oh, I'll hang out with you guys. I was officially introduced to Jason. I don't think he remembers this though. John introduced me to him. I thought he was pretty cute. I was like, yeah, I played basketball for 7 years, and he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, you know.
Fast forward a day or two, I go to play basketball and I run into Jillian. She says, hi, I'm Jillian with a G, and I said, I know. She just told me about how she played basketball. Now, being the honest guy that I am, I don't remember that conversation entirely, or even like just the smallest bit, but I do remember seeing her on the way to go play basketball. That is almost about it of what I remember about meeting Jillian at Hume until like the very last day. The last full day. Our church gathered together at Victory Circle, which is like this place at Hume, kind of like wooden bleachers, like kind of like a bowl. We met there as a church. There was a couple hundred of us, maybe, yeah, a couple hundred I'd say. It was optional. You could get up, say your name and what you learned throughout the week at Hume.
My pastor said, you can say something if you want about what you learned this week at Hume. So I spoke.
I was gonna speak. I didn't know Jillian very well at the time. Jillian got up. She was like, hi, my name is Jillian with a G. Everyone started laughing, and I was like, oh, that's Jillian. I know her.
I always introduce myself as Jillian with a G because normally Jillian's spelled with a J. I introduced myself as, hi, I'm Jillian with a G. And then right after I went, Jason went.
And I was actually the next one who got to speak. So I stood up and I said, hi, my name is Jason with a J. And everyone started laughing up again. I looked down at my youth pastor. He's laughing. He's shaking his head because he knew right then and there that I was flirting with her.
Our pastor like looked at him and just like shook his head because like he knew that something was gonna spark from that moment. And he said, hi, I'm Jason with a J, and he looked at me, and then I looked up at him and I gave him finger pistols.
What's funny is I got up and I said, I'm Jason with a J, and then Jillian, sitting one row in front of me to the right a little bit, turns around, she goes like this. I'm just like, wow. That was probably one of the cheesiest things I've ever seen in my life, but it was freaking awesome. I did have a reputation of playing girls at the time. This was the old Jason, so yeah, that's just a disclaimer.
So the next encounter I had with Jason was at like this back to school thing that my youth group had. I was walking and he came up to me. He asked me some sort of question, or he was like, hey Jillian with a G or something like that. And I was like, hey Jason. I think he just said hi and I said hi back or something, but I just like walked away because I was like, I'm not gonna get involved with this guy at all because he was a bit of a player. He like said something, I said something back, and then I just like walked away. I was like, I'm not gonna get involved with you. I just remember like looking at him a lot and I was just like, ooh, he's really cute.
She remembers me being there, but she didn't talk to me. And from my view, I don't remember her being there at all. I don't really have much to say about that.
The next encounter was at this concert called Glory, where a bunch of Christian bands perform.
I just remember going with a bunch of my friends, just hanging out, passing a volleyball around. Again, I don't really remember Jillian being there either. I didn't talk to her there. I don't remember seeing her. I don't remember Jillian being there.
He was like playing frisbee or something, I think, and oh gosh, I was such an idiot. He saw me and he's like, Jillian with a G, and I was like, Jason with a J, and my voice got so high, and then my friend Sam was like right next to me, and he like looked at me and he was like, like he knew how cringy it was, like it was embarrassing, but I don't think Jason remembers.
We did start talking on Twitter. I remember I tweeted, Kraft mac and cheese doesn't get enough credit. And that must have made Jillian a little mad because she commented back. She said, no, it does get enough credit. Gourmet's way better though. And I was like, no, gourmet, you can't even compare the two. Like, craft is just so much better.
This is literally how our relationship started. He said, Kraft mac and cheese doesn't get enough credit. And I said, yeah, it does. And he said, no, it doesn't, Jillian, with a G. And I said, everyone knows gourmet is better than craft or something like that. He said, gourmet is for those who never gave craft a chance. And I said, you will lose this fight. And then he slid into my DMs.
So we started DMing each other over this debate, which was pointless because we both knew I was right. But yeah, it eventually led to me asking for a phone number. She gave me it, and I was like, wow, we really just bonded over Kraft mac and cheese.
I accidentally gave him the wrong phone number. Somehow it got cleared up that it was the wrong number, and we started texting each other.
After we exchanged numbers, I was actually going camping up in Northern California, so we couldn't really text that much just because the reception was pretty bad. But whenever I would go into like town up there, we could exchange like a quick phone call or whatever. So I remember there was maybe like 3 phone calls that we had up there. I was up there for maybe like 4 or 5 days. I think our first phone call, we talked for maybe about a half hour.
We were on the phone for like 2 hours, I think, an hour and a half or 2 hours.
And it wasn't awkward at all. Like, we just talked as if we knew each other forever. I really started liking her when she texted me a SpongeBob quote, and I finished that quote. And it was like, oh my gosh, this girl is like a female version of me. And I just remember her texting all the goals. And I was like, whoa, this girl is way too good to be true. There's no way she likes me. I was like, okay, I cannot blow this.
When he got back in town, we were supposed to hang out one night, but I ended up going to the One Direction concert with my mom. So I was like, okay, well, at our youth group, we'll just go to In-N-Out after and we can hang out there.
I came back from camping and I was like, hey, let's meet up at In-N-Out after our high school ministry service. And I said we would just hang out, and then we'd go back to her house, just hang out there. It's gonna be fun.
He was like hyping it all up. He's telling me he's gonna buy me a burger and we're gonna talk and we're gonna hang out and it's gonna be this great thing.
We go to In-N-Out, she gets there before me, I come in with my friends, and I see her in line in front of me, and we make eye contact, and it was like the scariest thing ever.
I get to In-N-Out with my friends. He's at In-N-Out with his friends. I'm like in the front of the line at In-N-Out, and I like turn around and I see him, and I'm like, hi, and he's like, hey. And then so like I turn around and I go and order, and I like sit down, and he orders, and he goes outside with all of his friends. Like, he didn't talk to me at all. Like, he didn't buy me a burger. He didn't talk to me. Like, he didn't say one word. And he went literally outside with all of his friends. Like, he didn't talk to me at all. So I was with my friends and we were like, oh my gosh, you're not talking to this guy anymore.
I talked to girls before. Like, I was never scared of talking to girls until I met Jillian. It was terrifying because of how pretty she was. And I was so nervous. I actually blew her off the whole night. I didn't talk to her, I didn't hang out with her, and I hardly made any eye contact with her because I wussed out basically. And we were supposed to hang out after too. I
was just like done with him. I was like, okay, screw this guy. Like, he's just like everybody else. I'm not gonna talk to him anymore. So he said he had brought me some rocks from his trip at Bridgeport. For some reason, he had my address. I don't remember how that happened. That night I was with my friend Jessica, and like I was so mad. I was like, let's go to Barnes and Noble. I need to clear my head. While we were there, Jason had dropped off the rocks at my house, and when I got there I didn't see any rocks. I was like, okay, whatever, there's nothing here.
So I go to her house, like I pull up at her house, I'm like, hey, let's hang out. She was really mad. She just like texted me like really short replies saying, no, I'm out with friends. No, I'm at the bookstore. And I'm like, when are you gonna be back? She's like, oh, I don't know, probably won't be back for a while. So I waited for about an hour, just sitting in my car outside her house. And I was like, okay, I blew it. Like, I felt super bad because she was really special, and I could just tell after like a week of talking to her. I went home and I called either that night or the next day saying, hey, can I come over? I gotta make this right. She said yeah. Shockingly, I thought like I would never talk to her again.
Jason and I talked. He came to my house and he told me how different I was from every other girl that he's met, how there's something special about me, and how he really, really liked me. And he was basically, he's basically begging me to give him a second chance. So, I was like, okay, fine. We'll hang out and we'll just see what happens.
I came over to her house. I told her how I felt. I told her that she was super special and that no girl's ever made me feel like the way she does. And it was funny because she was like in her sweatpants and t-shirt, and she wasn't wearing any makeup. Her hair was all crazy, and she was like, well, you've seen me in my weakest form. I have nothing left to hide. And I was just thinking, I was like, wow, even like with her hair all crazy and with no makeup, she's like the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. I talked, she heard me out, and I said, could we hang out? Like for real this time. And she said yes. We went on a date to a bookstore, just sat down in the coffee shop and just talked.
We went on our first date and we went to Barnes and Noble. He didn't know it was a date apparently, but the rest is pretty much history.
Maybe a month and a half or two later, I asked her to be my girlfriend, and we've been together for the last 2 years. And yeah, that's the story on how I met Jillian.
Yeah, that's our story. I'm very curious to see if these stories aligned up because mine's the right version.
I hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm sure we're gonna enjoy it when we look over the footage.
Let us know in the comments below whose version of the story you think is the right version of the story.
Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more videos. We're gonna be posting weekly.
The verse of the day will be in the description box. Give us some comments for videos that you want to see in the future.
Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.
We will see you in the next video.
See you next time. How do you turn this off though?